Hello everyone, this is Yours Trivia. Welcome back to another early game playbook guide series as we're covering the Little Conqueror Sun Ce in his A World Betrayed 194 start. This is when his faction was introduced in the game, and later on when a Fates Divided DLC was launched, he was also given a 200 chapter pack start, but we'll be discussing him for the World Betrayed start that he is kind of designed to be featured in. He is one of the recommended characters for this DLC, but he's also given a starting situation of hard. And that's really because you start out as a vassal. I believe you're the only faction in the game that starts off as a vassal, and your vassal master is Yuan Shu. You also have fellow vassals, members, that we'll take a look at once we get into game, and you also have some early game mission branching that allows you to either stay as a vassal of Yuan Shu or declare independence against him. Now, let's get this out of the way. My recommendation is to declare independence, especially after the latest patches that brought the changes to Faction Council, as in the Faction Council missions, there are ones for the liege to take the heirs of the vassal. So you could lose your heir periodically to your liege if you choose to stay a vassal throughout the gameplay. That is actually something that you just can't accept because you'll lose items, you'll lose important characters. So it's much better off going the independence route. And on top of that, going independent means you get to keep the Imperial Seal. So that's going to be a very nice item to bolster your early game. And aside from just where you start on the map, where you don't actually start out with any land, as you see there is no green color for your faction, what else makes this campaign hard is that you have a lot of mechanics to keep track of. There is Reckless Luck. This is your faction unique resource. It is a constantly decaying resource that can only be gained by doing what's called the Legacy of Wu missions. This is a list of objectives that you must try to achieve to gain temporary Reckless Luck as well as cumulative per turn Reckless Luck to halt the decay of this resource. This resource will bring you a lot of great benefits to your campaign, such as extreme speed on the campaign, as in a lot of movement. There are also other benefits that comes with Reckless Luck, but when you run out of it, as though it decays down to 0, Sun Ce, your faction leader, will die. This is sort of a representation of how long Sun Ce has to live. So you are incentivized to tackle those Legacy of Wu missions very early on and to complete them so you can change this ever decaying resource into a stable and increasing resource. You can offset the 10 points of decay and actually turn it positive if you do finish most of the missions. So it is something that you can pretty much just enjoy in the late game as a benefit to your faction, with many boosts that we'll take a look at once we get into the game. Aside from this, there's also mechanics such as the Shared Expertise, which is a unique court action that you can take. And you also have a unique court structure that's very different from all the other factions. It is kind of hard to describe them here, so we'll wait till we hop into game to discuss those features. And speaking of unique features, we have the same 3 mercenary units as our father, including the mercenary outpost. So if you're curious about these, tune into Sun Jian's early game guide, as we already talked about them quite a bit. And right off the bat, the best thing about these mercenary unit is that they come completely mustered on the turn you recruit them. So no need to wait for replenishment, they come fully replenished. That makes them extremely useful and also extremely cheap, because you could technically disband them right on the same turn, and you never have to pay upkeep for these units. And that includes the mercenary archers available for all generals of all classes after rank 3. You have mercenary infantry after rank 1, and mercenary cavalry after rank 5. In addition to his father's unique unit, he also received 2 new unique units for his own faction in this DLC, and that's the Handmade Guard, which is a melee cavalry available for all characters rank 3 or higher, and the Tiger Guard, which is a spear guard unit that's available for all characters rank 6 or higher. So these two units also have a special trait in that they provide what's called a guard passive for nearby generals, as both of them will reduce incoming damage on those heroes. So they help your heroes become better duelists and fighters by giving them damage resistance for staying near their generals. A very, very useful trait. They do not stack, it's the same passive, but you could basically acquire it whether you have one unit or the other. So it's often very wise to keep at least one of these units in your army to help you with dueling and fighting in general, just from that passive alone. And although you see a lot of noteworthy characters surrounding our main character, you actually start out the game without any of them. Sun Quan technically does start out with you, but he's still just a kid. And Huang Gai and Cheng Pu starts out in your vassal master's court, but there are missions to acquire every single one of these generals and many, many more. As a matter of fact, Sun Ce's campaign is the best campaign to collect all generals, because he has a faction-wide specialty that we'll take a look at once we hop into game that gives him additional capture chance and lowered character salary. So that really incentivizes you to collect more characters and keep them. As for the main character himself, our faction leader, he has certain traits. None of them are, super special, but what really separates him from all the generals in the game is his Little Conquer background has 100% charge bonus for cavalry. This means all your cavalry unit, regardless they're shock cavalry or melee cavalry or range cavalry, will have double charge bonus. This gives some of your shock cavalry over 500, sometimes even 600 charge, and this makes them extremely devastating because charge bonus gives them additional attack and helps them overcome enemy evasion for the first 10 seconds of the charge. And that really just decimates enemy units as well as enemy generals. And one-on-one, when charging into enemy cavalry, your cavalry will always come out ahead because of this double charge bonus. This cannot be underestimated. You also have half price to establishing order in deserted settlements. This means if it's raised or if it's unclaimed, it costs you half the price to claim them. You also get 15% melee damage increase for all shock cavalry. This one's not that important because shock cavalry carry spears. Those typically are heavy into armor piercing damage, whereas this is the base damage. And it's also percentage boost rather than a raw value boost, so it's not really going to amount to much because the base value is already so low. So that's pretty much it on his background, and that's all we really need to take a look at over here. We'll be hopping into the game. There's still a ton to talk about. There's a lot of little details that we can take a look at and guide you through Sun Ce campaign, which is really, really fun. It's actually one of the easiest and most entertaining campaigns you can play because of the number of characters you will have. The starting situation becomes pretty easy right off the bat, in my opinion. So let's hop in here. China must be united.
自从破虏将军谢氏以来，主公以一己之力稳住局势，保护了孙家基业。然而战乱未息，天下依旧动荡不安。
现下我等正受袁术恩惠，但此人欲壑难填，又才智不足，早晚要一败涂地。我等需尽早摆脱他的控制，以免为其所累。虽时日已久，杀父之仇，吾未敢或忘。
为令尊复仇，自是头等大事，但主公须先摆脱袁术之掣肘，建立属于自己的势力。江东与中原有天险相隔，物阜民丰，主公定当图之。
江东乃是刘繇的领地。但他新官上任，未经战事，要夺取江东之地，从他入手，或许是个不错的选择。
正是如此，然主公若欲占据江东，则必与另一劲敌交手。贼徒严白虎也盘踞在江东一带，主公若要夺取其地，此人绝不会坐以待毙。
另一劲敌，无妨，我亦将擒而制之。 孙家大业现下由我肩负，无论是用言辞还是刀兵，我都庇护孙家兴旺盛强，不负父亲英名。
Alrighty, so that's our flyby intro. The quest for revenge. Sun Ce, you have served Yuan Shu as a loyal vassal for 4 years since your father's death at the hand of Wang Zu. He has been capricious and demanding master, but you have served with honor and distinction. However, you will not forget your duties as a son. Above all, Wang Zu must pay for killing your father. To see your vengeance realized, you will need land, warriors, and resources. Your family's homeland of Jiangdong would offer all those things and more. Perhaps Yuan Shu can be persuaded to let you take your father's former general styles and build a base of your own. Until then, you must continue to obey his commands. So, a couple notes for us. We are a man of great abilities. That is very true. He is reckless, and his luck will not last forever. If Sun Ce's luck runs out, he will die. This is about our resource here. Achieving Sun Ce's ambitions grants powerful bonuses, whilst also delaying his luck from running out. The faster it is stopped, the more of his luck will stay with him forever. Focus on recruiting powerful characters to your court. So, our first mission is to occupy and capture the settlement belonging to Lu Kang, who owns Hefei here in Lujiang. And if we beat him, we receive our father's generals, in particularly Cheng Pu, Huang Gai, and Han Dang. 2 of them are unique. Han Dang does not have a unique art in the game, but it's a very important historical general for you. You also get Yuan Shu supplies for 4 turns, which reduces your recruitment costs faction-wide by 20%. Quite useful, and -2 turns of mustering. Not so useful since you will be most likely recruiting mercenary units. Growing Might for 5 turns gives you 10% replenishment and also increased experience for all your units per season. Overall, pretty good round of bonuses here for taking this city. Especially those generals, because you start out with just your mother, Lady Wu, who happens to not be your heir because you have your brother, Sun Quan, starting off as your heir. He's 12. That means it will take him around 20 turns to come of age. That is way too long to not have a bonus for heir. So we're going to have our mother take over here, and we're going to make her heir right off the bat. And this way she can be happy as well because she starts out quite low in terms of satisfaction. Now she's heir. You can switch some of her gear around to maximize authority to help increase the satisfaction for your whole faction. And when you level her up, obviously the 4 skill here are very beneficial for faction-wide bonuses, but you might also want to think about this unbreakable skill as the first skill she learns, because there is a great use for this later down the line. If you're into looping, if you will allow such a strategy, you can keep a foothold in the north and basically stall Yuan Shu for a while after you declare independence against him. Aside from that, nothing too major here in terms of trait. Outsider is pretty good late game with -5% corruption, but placing her as your heir is definitely much more beneficial than sticking with Sun Quan for 20 turns. You also can equip the Imperial Jade Seal on her. This doesn't have to go on her. This can also go on Sun Ce, depending on whether you roll other accessory items that are more fitting for either characters. In this case, we actually didn't get any accessory item. We rolled a military Ji and a noble's leather. We're not going to actually use any of these just to keep the guide relevant for everyone, regardless of what item you roll. Aside from these 2 items, you actually don't start out with anything else. So Jade Seal is the free item. You can see you got the armor, you got the weapon. Sun Ce starts out with the heirloom spear, and that's it. So your faction starts out pretty item poor, and you can decide whether you want to put the Jade Seal on your mother or yourself. It's not going to make a huge difference because you guys have pretty much the same authority. So no matter who you give it to, the increase is relatively the same. Your mom actually is a 90, so I think she can actually benefit a bit more from this because she'll hit 100. I think that's the break point for the 6 point. You're at, unfortunately, 89, so it's not going to make as big of a difference for you, I believe. I could be wrong here. It could be relatively the same. It should be maybe still 6 points, but it's fine. Just give it to your mom. She'll be all the happier for it. All the bonuses are faction-wide, so it doesn't really matter who has it. Alright, so that's done. Let's take a look at our army. It's pretty strong. As I mentioned before, cavalry have double charge bonus. So these numbers are super inflated, they're super strong, and something that you can take advantage of throughout your campaign. Compare that to, you know, infantry numbers. Even your Raider Cav, which is just a peasant tier unit, has like 282. That's more than a lot of the cataphracts have by default. That also means cataphract for Sun Ce would have 500 plus charge. It is absolutely incredible. Aside from that, your starting skill is Flame the Phoenix, a very good AoE clear, and you can potentially get up to this Devastating Roar, which is 2 use only for 50 morale hit, also pretty useful. And before we jump into this fight, we can take a look at Diplomacy, but please note, you don't start out with any land, so you can't actually lock down any trade right now. You could do some discussion in terms of non-aggression pact. You can sell these for money to people like Lu Bu. Military access, same thing if you want to do that. The only deal I really would recommend you do on turn 1 is go to Yuan Shu and sell him the support to legitimacy. He'll give you 8.9 for it, and you can take a look at his inventory for items that he started the game off with. He always has a Spy Master, that's the silver tier one, but you're looking for other things that could really help you in your campaign. In this case, there's nothing much. If there's nothing much, what you want to do is ask for cash, and I mean cash, because if you ask for per turn cash, what happens is you're going to declare independence, and all of these deals will go away. So the only thing you can get from him now is lump sum cash. That's the best thing you can get from him. And you can get roughly, let's see if we can get 40. What's the maximum? Right, maybe it's 44. Nope, 43 it is, and that's pretty decent. He starts out with only 2,000, so he's giving you like 75% of his cash holdings for the support to legitimacy. And you can also lock down a trade after you conquer Lukang. So we'll do that next. I would highly recommend you to fight this manually. The garrison has a lot of spear units. He just has a general by himself, not very hard. You can do a duel to pick up some experience, or if you're not comfortable with microing generals on romance mode for a fight, then maybe the go-to strategy is to throw your units at them to just use up your unit's health to beat it, to keep your general healthy, because I will be using Sun Ce for a very dangerous mission in the following turn, so it's better he has full health. But in reality, you don't really need him to be that healthy. You can delegate this for it to still work. That's not a hard thing to do. I'll show you guys how I'm going to do it, and you guys will figure it out then. But before we do that, a couple of things about mechanics. We have Men of Merit. This is a passive faction bonus. It will stay with us forever. We can, if we are regionalists, means we don't have any land, we can recruit and replenish in non-hostile territories. Means on any ally land, vassal land, you can recruit armies. This is not really relevant for us later on in the game, unless you want to play a roaming nomads and wait till you die because you run out of reckless luck. So I don't think it's relevant at all. But what's really cool here is the 30% chance of capturing enemy officers post-battle forever for all your armies. And then minus 20% character salary for all your generals. That's very important, because if we look at our court, it looks very different from all the other faction court. Not only do we start out with the Grand Commandant ready, we also have an extra row of court positions that's unique to us. And these court positions actually will grant different bonuses than what they typically grant for other factions. And those bonuses are scaling based on the level of the general you place in these positions. I believe they scale at level 3, level 5, and level 8, where you get the maximum bonus at level 8. So that's one set of levels you have to remember. but there's a different set of levels. Every single court position that you saw will provide something called shared expertise. Think of this as your second resource. And this resource, as long as the character in those positions are at least rank 3, in this case, Sun Ce as a faction leader is also one of those positions, is starting off at rank 3. So he'll be contributing 1 point of share expertise. It maxes out 99 points, and you get additional points from characters at rank 5, where they give 2 points, at rank 8, where they give 3 points, and at rank 10, where they give 4 points. So if you count up how many positions you have here, right, that's 10 plus 3, 13 here, you can have up to 52 points per turn if everyone is ranked 10. Now, what can you do with these points? You can spend these points 50 points at a time to instantly grant a lot of experience to any one of your characters in your court. Means you can level them up using shared expertise. So it's essentially using the expertise of your court to help your court's inexperienced members to level up. Very, very useful. And we'll be doing that for our mom very soon. But right now we're going to hold off from that. It's not going to overflow, so it's fine. And her level up's not going to bring us any extreme benefit right now. But another cool thing just about this court setup in general is that you have access to the faction council much quicker than most factions because they unlock a different pace. Whereas, you're going to get the Grand Tutor when you level up to Noble, as well as the Grand Excellency, I believe. So you have I think maybe only this one. I think you get Noble here, and this one's Second Marquise. Second Marquise you get. So basically when you reach Second Marquise, you have 4 of your 5 positions already. You still have to wait for Duke for Prime Minister. I think it's just 1 tier quicker, because usually it's like Second Marquise and then Marquise. Then Noble also picks up these 2 at the bottom, and then Second Marquise picks up this one, Marquise and Marquise pick up these 2. So you end up with a bunch of court positions. They will cost increased salary, but because you have a decreased salary here, you actually will enjoy the decrease percentage-wise for all the promotions you give in your court as well. So they come out pretty cheap. So you want that because you want to stack a lot of share expertise. You want to collect a lot of characters. You want to put them to good use. So character salary is going to be a big thing for you. All right, so with all that said, and we did our diplomacy deal that's important, the one with selling the legitimacy to Yuan Shu, we can proceed with this battle here. So I'm going to just delegate this. I'm not going to worry about the health of your general, even though it's probably going to put him probably at, 4/3 health. Well, it'll be 4/3 after we heal for a turn here. We captured him because of our extremely high capture chance. In this case, I would recommend just releasing him for the 200 income. There's no benefit to executing him. He has no items. And we'll be occupying here. So we finished that first mission. We got new generals. We also got this recruitment discount as well as replenishment boost. And our next mission is to move any character to the following county. And this is just the county next to us because the story-wise is our uncle needs help. We'll get some money. The old friend will be Zhou Yu, and Yuan Shu supply for 4 more turns. Lucan's destroyed. So this is where things get a little bit tricky. You could rush this mission this turn. It will cost you a bit to do so. And I'll explain how this works. So if you don't do this mission now, on your following turn, the game will ask you whether you want to turn in the seal or not. And that's going to make or break your relationship with not only Yuan Shu, but also his other vassals. So when that happens, this mission will be aborted. You will still get your old friend. Zhou Yu will come to you. He will spawn right next to you. And you won't get any of the other reward. However, you could actually finish this mission this turn. It's possible because you can use your new generals that you just received to proxy them out and move them into this territory this turn. So it is entirely feasible to finish this mission now and to pick up the 2,500 But at the same time, it's going to cost you around 2,500 to get the generals out into the field to proxy them forward. The cheapest combination we can have is Lady Wu and Cheng Pu for about 1,000, 800, 900-ish. So we'll do that. It's still a good deal. It's positive 600. So what you want to do is you want to raise your army, and we're going to, let's say, summon Cheng Pu first, and then summon Lady Wu right after. And we're going to delete all the units. That way, when we need to proxy them out in the future or just summon them as generals, they don't have to cost us any redeployment. And then we're going to recall the first general, which will restore the full movement of the second general. It doesn't look full because there was the reach that won't be given to us. But anyways, we'll just step right here to satisfy that mission. And we'll be paid, and we'll get 4 more turns of this recruitment bonus that we'll be able to use. Zhou Yu comes a turn earlier, and then we get a list of missions, and we'll talk about these missions alongside our Legacy of Wu missions. But this one you see here, they want us to conquer the fishing port. We'll get Lu Fan to join us, and we'll also get 3 more turns of Yuanshu supplies. Share expertise with any character to help them reach rank 4. This way we'll get extra experience on Sun Ce himself. And then what we're going to do is move her back. And before we recall everyone, this addition here will also give you increased military strength. So now we can negotiate probably the best trade deal we can, right? We still haven't negotiated any trade agreements. We just got our first piece of land, and you can see you have 3 viable targets, both all positive, but honestly you have only one choice, because I'm recommending you to declare independence. If you do a trade deal with Yuanshu or Wujing, it's going to break next turn. So the Han Empire is really the only option here. You can also take a look to see if anything else is positive. In this case it's not. We don't have any food because our newly acquired commander here is a capital. There's no food production in it. It has a very nice inn and a state workshop. It's pretty good. We also could try to marry off our mom, but don't do it because it's offer marriage. It's to the faction leader, so you can't convince him to join you through marriage, unfortunately. You can also take a look at his items in case he has anything good that you want to trade for of value. But really here, I don't think you can get too much from him. Whether it's cash, I think it's basically, I don't even think you can get anything. So close to get 1. But yeah, you really can't get much unless you're willing to put up some items. I don't think it's worth it. I feel like just let this be, get the trade done, and you'll be all good. Any sort of income, it's good income. All right, and if you want to, sell some of your non-aggression to people like Cornwall, you can probably get close to 100 per turn here. Go for it. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just not going to do it because I feel like it's going to waste our time. Then after the trade deal is done, it's time to start disbanding your troops because you don't need them. Now we could actually heal Sun Ce, because we have all these characters proxy out already. So what we want to do is just recall everybody. But before we do that, there is something I would like to consider. Who will get these positions, right? So let's take a look at our unique court. Our Grand Commandant, typically for any faction, it's 10% recruitment cost, flat, forever. For us, a rank 3 character is giving us +2 armies and -5%, right? It's key. The key is it's a rank 3 character. If he's rank 5, these bonuses will grow. If he's rank 8, it will grow 1 more time. Now the Chancellor position, usually peasantry income. For us, 10% character salary discount and 1 assignment for a rank 3 character. So these numbers will also grow as they rank up. So these are all very important things for us to recognize. So this is super beneficial for us. You almost always want someone to be Chancellor. We already recalled Chengpu, so he's not going to be able to jump in there. So I'm going to actually put Zhou Yu here. Notice the 140 increase in salary when we promoted him. Now with the extra 10%, it's going to be even less. You see it's only 120 now. That means he's also only 120 because now he's activating it. And we'll make Huang Gai our Grand Commandant for now. Doesn't really matter who's there. And they will also be providing shared expertise. See how that's increasing now? And what we can do with it is, let's use it on the character. Sun Ce's level, let's see. He's at 10k right now, going towards 16k. She's at 0. We're going to use it on her because I want her to learn a skill for us. So Lady Wu here is going to get shared expertise. All you have to do is click here. It will also deepen the relationship between that character and your faction leader, in this case Sun Ce. So if you want to build up, let's say, Oaththorn, because you'll highly likely pick up Zhou Tai, you can use share expertise on Zhou Tai so that he and Sun Ce can become Oaththorns very quickly, and then you can pretty much have him be an undying force in your faction almost immediately after getting him. After using it, let's look at her. Wait, there we go. She jumped 5,500. I believe the mount is actually scaling. It's not always flat 5,500. I think it does vary a little bit with your level. So I think it's actually higher if you're higher level. I could be wrong there, but that's what I remember from playing the faction before. And usually I recommend going for understanding because +1 starting rank for all recruit is really good for our mercenary units. Could they come out, higher rank the second you recruit them? You can have them fight, then disband them. If you have a bunch of characters in your court with this ability, then obviously, you can have up to like 8 characters with this. Your mercenary units will always be out on the field at like 9 or 10 rank. That's the best quality you can get. But I'm going to reserve her for a special role in our faction. She's going to be our looping defender in Hefei. And she will pick up the unbreakable trait here from meditation. So she's going to be recalled now. Sun Ce is also going to be recalled to heal him. Zhou Yu as well. The city is perfectly fine. I don't recommend you building anything here. It's simply too pricey at this point. And also, don't upgrade this. The fact that it's a large town without wall is what allow our looping strategy to work. If you have never heard about the looping strategy, check out any of our old guides. There are a ton of guides on it, and it pretty much prevents the AI from capturing your town because the capture flag in a non-walled city is only a capture point, not a victory point. Means even if the AI enters your city and capture it, it's only going to damage your unit's morale by 10 points. It doesn't automatically give them the win. It doesn't have the victory countdown. So in the situation where you have a timed defender map plus all the towers in the town, you can just literally loop the enemy army until they all die. And that's what you can do to Yuan Shu if he dares to come at you. So that's all settled. Too pricey. Assignment wise, you don't have any good assignment characters at this point, so I would just skip this. You could also consider to fire Han Dang if you want, if you don't like, non-unique generals for some reason. But he does have a semi-unique background. He is historically very relevant to the Kingdom of Wu, so I don't recommend it, but it is an option you have. Save you a bit of money because you have a lot of characters. And that's pretty much all you have to do on turn 1. But before we proceed, we have to talk about Reckless Luck and Legacy of Wu. So this is our unique resource. At maximum tier, it goes from 0 to 250. I believe each of these are 25. So I think it's like 25, 50, 75, 100, 125, 150, 175, and then the last 75 chunk is right here. So before you drop below 175, your bonus will be 40% campaign movement range, minus 15% retinue upkeep, plus 15 military supplies. and you will decay 10 points of reckless luck per turn. And that amount is stable, the decay amount. But the bonuses will decrease and decrease and decrease until you pretty much have no bonuses here at Forsaken, the last 25. And when you take down, you die. Your game does not end. You basically will never be able to recover reckless luck after Sun Ce dies, and your heir will just become the leader. You just miss out on all this bonus. You can still play the game, right? But you feel like a failure. So how do we prevent that? Well, here is the legacy of Wu. This is sort of your objectives in this game. So they come divided into these, blocks of sets. So the first one here is just secure the mountains. Xingdu, commandery. You can pick up all 3 pieces. When you capture a single piece, you'll gain a 1-turn boost of 5 points of reckless luck. But if you finish all 3, you get +3 public water faction-wide and +2 reckless luck per turn, which will offset your decay. Then you also have a similar mission for Poyang, individual pieces that will give +5 reckless luck. And then altogether, 1 extra assignment +2 extra reckless luck per turn. Same for Danyang, 15% to industry and 2 points per turn. Kuaiji, all green buildings, 20% discount, 2 points per turn. And then the Little Conqueror, this has to do with Sun Ce deploying 5 commanders, winning 5 duels himself, capturing 5 settlements with him as your commanding commander. So the general on the left. We actually already done 1 of this, right? We need 4 more to kind of get the bonus checked off. This should be crossed out for us, but maybe it will update next turn. But if you finish all 3 here, you see this makes Sun Ce stronger, by the way. When you finish all 3, you will get only 1 point. So you're now, cumulatively speaking, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Then you have one called Old Guard. Means a character who is over 40 years old, a Vanguard, reach rank 4, a Sentinel, reach rank 4. What they hint at here is Huang Gai and Cheng Pu. But they don't have to be these 2. But they're 1 level away, right? Pretty quick that they will hit level 4. Share expertise, very, very useful for that. And when you get this, you get 1 more point of reckless luck. So by this point, you're done, right? You won't be losing any more points at all. And you get 5% melee damage for all shock cavalry. You can still keep doing the missions to boost your reckless luck back in case you dip below, because each individual mission will also give you 5 points. If you're no longer losing them per turn, any of these 5 points gains will just help you increase it. Then there's also one called the Next Generation. This is characters who are 18 to 30. They really should update this to 16 to 30 because they changed the coming of age requirement. But unfortunately, when they did change the coming of age, they didn't remember to change it here for the Legacy of Wu. But it's not really going to hurt you. But you pretty much want a Sentinel, Strategist, and Commander to reach these level rank 4 who are in this age group. And when that checks out, you get 5 points of reckless luck for each of them. You get turtle formation for all your armies and 5% melee damage for melee infantry. So this becomes just combat bonuses. You no longer are saving yourself. That's why you should actually prioritize these first 6 mission blocks, because you don't want yourself to lose your bonus for reckless luck. Then moving on, after Next Generation, Governors and Scholars. So you want to have 2 rank 5 or higher strategists, 2 rank or 5 commanders, 2 additional administrator positions, plus 1 available assignment. These bonuses were given before the prestige point changes. So that actually means Sun Ce's faction will have a ton of bonuses because you can compound the prestige point bonus on top of this, because previously the design of his faction is all his bonuses for administrators and everything is piled on to Legacy of Wu and his unique court positions. But now he has those and you still have prestige point level up. So you can have incredible amounts of bonuses from administrators' assignments, depending on how you customize your prestige points. Because previously, what they did is they removed all the faction rank up automatic bonuses. Like used to be, you rank up here, you get X amount of army, X amount of assignment, X amount of administrator. They took that all away and put it on these Legacy of Wu. But unfortunately, when they changed or fortunately, I guess, when you play Sun Ce now, it's like when you play Sun Ce now, you don't have it on the rank up, but you don't have it anyways because they're on the prestige point. Sun Ce still has prestige point, and he, in addition to prestige point, he still has all his missions, all his unique core position, giving you even more additional positions. Then you also have Lady Sun's Guard, female commanders, female sentinels. You get range boost. And then this one. Notice how there is +2 reckless luck per turn for taking down Yanbaihu and Huangzu. So bandit in the south and the person who killed your father. Once you defeat them, by defeat you just have to defeat the army that they're in. You don't have to actually duel them or anything like that. You get +2. This is pretty key. The hardest part about this is Huangzu is very rarely on the field. That's the only thing you have to watch out for. But if you find him, go after him. And this means you can actually get over 10 points. You can get 12 points. So that will cancel out the 10 and you have +2 per turn. So even if you don't complete these up here and you start dipping down, once you finish this, you can build it back up. Then securing the homestead. This is for Changsha. A lot of good bonuses for upgrading the capital of the settlement, 10% construction cost, also passive population boost. Zhou Yu's ambition is Xiangyang, Nan, and basically Xiangyang and Nan. This place kind of weird. These two commanderies, this has to do with the post-Chibi. Zhou Yu dies here because he was fighting it over with Zhuge Liang. Anyways, you get a lot of good boost for your artillery, as well as ammo for them. Legacy of Sun Ce. Have your core characters, Sun Ren, Sun Ce, Sun Quan, Zhou Yu, be rank 6 or rank 5 at the beginning turn. Desire for higher office for everyone drop by 30% and also 30 prestige point. Finally, a couple of things such as Grandmaster. Having a character with more than 160 points of each of the stats will give Sun Ce 25 points of instinct and resolve. Road to Emperorship. This one's a little weird. Have no vassal master, quite easily done as we're about to declare independence next turn. Have your capital with a rank 9 or higher settlement level, or have Luoyang as your capital and be rank 5 or higher. Have 10 regions that have access to the Yellow River, which is the northern river, and then have 25 regions north of the Yangtze River. So this is like when you expand beyond the south and you get 2 points of reckless luck. So you can actually get it all the way up to 14 per turn. So it's quite flexible. It's not as daunting as it seems. It's very rare for you to die unless you're just completely ignoring the early conquest of the south, which is really what you should do. You need to come and grab these commanderies as quickly as possible. Even if you don't finish things like these, getting these 8 points pretty much will stop the bleeding. Losing 2 points a turn with all these missions that give you +5 really would tide you over until you hit stuff, like finding Yanbaihu and Huangzu. Alright, so that's how the Legacy of Wu works and how our Reckless Luck works. And before we proceed, another thing, jack up your tax rate. It doesn't hurt you at all at this point. You have one city. We're going to defend it with a general that can loop. So even if Yellow Turban comes siege you, you'll be fine. And in the case you're against looping, I totally understand. You don't want to just have a general sit here and defend forever. I respect that. In that case, you will still want to do this because you are going to lose this place, right? You're going south. You're letting Yuan Shu come take it. So might as well get as much money as you can from it. And if you spawn a rebellion, that's someone else's problem. All right, so that's all we're going to do. And we can end turn now. Alrighty, so the second turn opens with this event here, where he asks for the land that you just conquered. So you can choose to delay breaking the relationship with him here, by giving him the land, or just straight up rebel and you get something called pressing your luck, which will give you 20 turns of 5 points per turn, slowing your decay. And that's actually pretty important, and you can actually survive for a long time with this. Now, this is going to vary a bit. Sometimes he asks you for this first, and then he's going to ask you for this seal. In this case, I recommend just whatever event you get, break the relationship with him. You don't want to go to the first spring, because God forbid he picks the faction council event that is taking your heir as hostage. You lose Lady Wu. You don't want that. So just say goodbye to him as soon as you can. You rebel against him, and his vassal declare war against you. Yeah, see? The follow-up event. So you get these pretty much right off the bat. Even if you stay with him there, you're going to have this one where he asks you for the seal, and you're going to want to break it with him anyways. So we'll keep the seal. Perfect. Alright, so they're enemies against us now. Don't worry about it. Raise our army. We have 4 deployable positions. What we're going to do is we're going to summon a proxy general. In this case, I think I want Chengpu to be the proxy. I'm going to actually have him step inside to give us slightly bit more movement. And then I'm going to recruit Sun Ce to lead, Zhou Yu to join along, kick Chengpu out, give them movement, and have them travel all the way down here. We can march. It's fine. We want to attack this. And we're going to just slip through here, and we're going to solo this with just these 2 generals. You could do it with just 1 general if you want. It's fine. Sun Ce can do it by himself, even while injured. And then back at home, Lady Wu's going to stand guard so that no one can take this from us. And that's pretty much all we have to do this turn. There are generals available, but I highly doubt you're interested in these. You're going to get a ton of generals from these missions. Lu Fan's one of them, and then you can pick up Taishi Ci when you pick up... I mean, you're going to see those missions pop up once we take this, but when you take Poyang, you get Taishi Ci. When you pick up Jianye, you get Zhang Hong, Zhang Zhao. When you just fight a lot, after every battle in these early turns, there's a trigger for a check. There's a chance you pick up Zhou Tai and Jiang Qing after any battle. So keep fighting early on. As many fights with Sun Ce as you can. I think it requires 4 fights. On the 4th fight, within a save. So if you fought 3 times, you close the game, you load back in, you got to fight 4 more times again. So I think the requirement is 4 fights in a row. On the 4th fight, you will get Jiang Qing and Zhou Tai join you. And Zhou Tai, obviously, super important. The Undying Vow is just so strong. Alright, so that's it. That's all we have to do. Not much going on. Let's continue here. Alrighty, we ignore everything. We ranked up. This has to do with the fact that we have the seal. But yeah, we'll take it. As you can see, we are given 3 army points in the beginning. I don't hate it, because the max army has the 15% upkeep for all units. Your reckless luck and max rank also has 15% discount. So you actually end up with 30% unit upkeep discount just from these. Super strong. Now, where should we put points? We only have 2 points because we started out with 3 already. So the first level up is going to be quite thin on the points. My suggestion here is actually pretty counterintuitive. Usually you want 1 spy so you can check return codes. Don't do that. I don't think it's worth it. You also don't want trade agreements right now because there are no suitable trade partners because your capital is in Hefei. And you only have the Han Empire as your neighbor who doesn't hate you. To your west is Heyi, Yellow Turban, can't trade with them. And then to your north and your east are your former vassal and his former vassal master and his current vassal, so you can't trade with them. So there's not a lot of benefit here. Administrators usually are pretty nice, but not really important in the early game because we don't have that much territory to use administrator. You technically don't really want to build in Hefei right now either, because there's a chance you'll lose it, assuming you're not using looping. So the best thing to go for Sun Ce's faction, and it makes total sense, is actually assignments. Because look at what assignments does when you max it out. You get character salary discount, which you really need because you are a faction that will collect a lot of characters, put them all in court positions that are very expensive. You already have 30% just from, 20% from your faction unique ability. That's just a bonus given to you. And then there's 10% on the Chancellor position at a rank 3. It can go up at rank 5 and then go up again at rank 8. So it's going to stack up pretty nicely. So you're already at 30%. If you get this and then pick up a few of the reforms, you can get free characters when playing as Sun Ce. So these mechanics, they are designed at different times, right? Because they designed Sun Ce's mechanic when A World Betrayed came out, and then they added prestige points, and then they added how the reforms were added, way before. If you add them up, you can actually get over 100%, no problem on Sun Ce. So I actually think the early points need to come to assignments. You get the character experience boost as well, right? 50%, because you want high-level characters to give you not only shared expertise, but also more bonuses in those core positions. So this synergizes the best, in my opinion. Even though you might not use those assignments, you still get the character experience boost. Right. That also means we get new core positions. So let's see what Grand Tutor can do for us. Grand Tutor gives us trade influence and trade agreements for rank 3. Director of Records gives us administrators. Director of Officer gives us discipline for all units, which reduces their chance of losing morale when your general dies, and also helps them regroup after they shatter for the first time. And also, at current level 3 for the general, it's 0 points of starting rank, but obviously when we reach 5, it'll be like 1 rank, and then when we reach 8, it's like 2 rank. So you can also get starting rank from this position. So these are all very, very nice boosts. But first off, we got to get Grand Tutor. Not only are trade routes valuable, but also this is a position that will give us faction council events, which can occur starting next turn. If you want to make things a little bit more realistic, we could also do like Grand Tutor for Zhou Yu, Chancellor for Guanggai. I mean, this one's not really realistic, but Chengpu, I think Grand Commandant's fine. If you guys are curious about Da Dudu, the position that Zhou Yu has, that's Director of Officers. But right now Grand Tutor is fine. All right, the other two we won't use anyone. Actually, you know what? We're gonna throw him into the Administrator for now. The reason being is he's rank 3, so he's gonna provide us shared expertise. Right, he's gonna give us shared expertise by being in that position. All right, we are good to go. Make sure you switch positions before you move, and then you come here for the attack. The game obviously don't think you can win. Night battle this. Let's go. All he has is some archer and the most basic of basic units. You have a smash ability, and he has night battle for you. The rest doesn't really matter. Alrighty. So all we gotta do is park ourselves over here where there's least amount of towers. They will actually charge out at us, I believe, because they think we're just really, really weak. He does have ability that locks you from using active, so you can't smash around him. So you want to fight like away from him, and we want to split ourselves up. We want to first move away from the tower range. The enemy archers will fire at us. So once we're out, and we can see how they divide up. It's okay, the archers will not hurt us. We'll charge at them. Once they shatter, just move on. First, get rid of the archers so they don't just pester us. It doesn't hurt, but what happens is you lose morale when that happens. Okay, Zhou Yu will split around a well. We see who he follows. And the thing is, when he's around, I can't smash, so I'd rather chase him away first. Let me slow it down. It's hard to click when he's moving so fast. Alright, so if he's over there, then we just charge into this. Oh, he's following us a little bit. That's fine. It's also fine if you lose your horse. But once you're inside, smash. have Zhou keep chopping at him. Then you just want to cycle charge them a little bit. They're going to feel weak. You're going to wait for that cooldown. Once they start routing, you chase. Zhou can help. It's okay if you tank a little bit of tower, not a big deal. He should feel army loss, and in case he doesn't, we're just gonna go. Nah, he does. So we're good. And that's an easy win for us. Alrighty. That was pretty straightforward. Occupy it. We get Lu Fan join us. We still pick up this mission. This one didn't get aborted. So you still get another 3 turns of this added on. So when you go and recruit your first army for the next 9 turns, 20% recruitment discount on top of the 5% you get from your court. Now we get a list of missions. Capture Danyang's Jianye, the capital Danyang. You get Growing Might for 5 more turns. Zhang Zhao, Zhang Hong, the 2 Zhang joins you. Capture Poyang. You get Taishi Ci. You also get Growing Might, 10% replenishment. Xingdu's capital. You get Lu Meng to join you. And as I mentioned before, Zhou Tai, Jiangqing after the 4th battle. Daqiao, Xiaoqiao also after battle, but closer to the year 200. Not during this period. Alright, so we're good. Relatively healthy. We don't have to mess with them. Liu Yao will probably march to you. He can't reach you, but he'll probably march close to you. And then you can immediately get an army of mercenary unit to crush him. And that will give you the 2 battles you need, because we fought 1 here. This is our 2nd battle. The 2 battles we need to summon Zhou Tai. And also after that point, I think we just can either attack here if we want to pick up Danyang so that this can be our capital. If you don't want to loop, that's a perfectly viable situation where you lose this, you capture this, this automatically become your capital because you don't have any other cities. This gives you the most trade route because you're on a port and the Yangtze River here is not obstructed until Badong's turn right here. So you have access to basically all these coastal trade routes all the way over here until Henei. And then you can also go all the way down, all the way here into Zhanghe. That gives you probably the most trade partners available, making it probably your best capital. Also a very good, healthy amount of industry combo here with a harbor. Just a very, very good commandery. You don't have to upgrade the fishing village, not very useful at this point. And you pretty much did everything you need to do here. So let's continue and see Liu Yao march up towards us. Alright, right on cue, he has arrived. We have faction council already. It's spring. That brings up a couple other points. So one is our reform. Starting in the 194 chapter pack, you get 5 free reforms to start off the game. Like in 190, you start out with 1. Here, 4 years has passed, you get 4 more. And for Sun Ce, the 4 you get, or the 5 you get in totals are quite nice. 8% recruitment cost discount. You get deployables, and you get redeployment discount plus 1 extra seasonal deployment, which is why we had 4 seasonal deployments so that we can proxy out both Sun Ce and Zhou Yu, while also being able to summon Lady Wu afterward as well. So these are wonderful bonuses to start out on this side. Also gives you pretty deep access to red reforms you might be interested in, maybe replenishment if you want that, if you feel like you can't fight cleanly. Access to things like the cataphract, which 206 charge will become 432 for our faction. These bonuses just become tremendous with our double. So cavalries are all very strong, but I don't think I need to recommend these because the mercenary are just so much more useful and they get the job done, so you don't actually have to invest reforms there. The reason why we didn't go spy is because you're given private tutor as well as the 10% character salary here. So you have the school set up, which means you have the spy tree branch set up. So you can actually get 3 free spies right here. And we mentioned the character salary discount, right? The 25% you could get from your prestige point assignment, the 20% you get from your faction wide, the 10% we get right now from Chancellor. You can get 10% more here, 10% more here, and then I believe that's it here. There's another one in the yellow tree. Yeah, 20% here as well after you get the temple building. So there's like 40% here And then if you add up all the other ones, you can easily get to 100% as I mentioned. But basically for the first one here, I recommend this. We don't have a lot of trade access, as I mentioned, and plus we got one additional trade from our court position, so I don't need more trade. And I can get a spy here, which means I can now start looking at turncoats. You will notice people like Zhang Zhao be willing to become a turncoat. Don't do this. This is waste of money. Once you capture Danyang, he joins you. So there's no point. This is just a waste of money right now. But you can take a look and see who else might want to join you throughout. And this is always a good thing to check every turn in case you can fish out some really good generals. Faction council wise, we can get a set item. Why not? Rerolling skills. This is actually quite important. So you can keep doing this on pretty much all your major characters, because in the game they think that you just got them within the last year, which is when they allow you to reroll. Now Sun Ce's skill tree is fine. I don't think you would change much. Sure, maybe you wouldn't get dignity, right? Maybe you end up here with furry, but it's not terrible. There is at least a faction-wide bonus on this, and you are the faction leader. The skill tree that I think needs the most help is Cheng Pu's. It looks okay, right? You can make him into administrator, and this one's always going to be with you. These two are like your default skills. But the thing is, with Cheng Pu and a lot of a world betray character, the game allow you to start on both sides of the skill tree. So if you can reroll him, these two will be gone, and you can start here. So you can get Zeal, and you can get Exemplar right after, which gives other generals near him, or basically in the same battle, infinite range, infinite duration. So anyone other than Cheng Pu in a battle, your friends, your other generals, will get 33% extra melee attack rate and 10% extra melee evasion. This just makes Sun Ce that much stronger, right? So if I can reroll his skill tree, it's going to be the best for us. Huang Gai. Okay, his skill tree is pretty bad. So like if you can't get Cheng Pu and you can get his reroll, that's also pretty good because you can end up getting reach. But let's see if we can actually get Han Dang. No, big no. We got Cheng Pu. Right, so this is like how you want to weigh it, right? Right now it's like if you keep this tree, at least you get firebomb fast enough, but then you can't get reach that fast. But like I mentioned, for a world betray characters, they let you start on both sides. So I would go with this one. Oh, we actually changed the reroll on these as well. So I can actually get increase. I don't have peasantry income. So we're not falling for this because we actually don't have any peasantry income right now. We have an inn and a state workshop. So I'd rather get the extra item. And you can see what item you got. Imperial Bow, not bad. Reroll, start on this side, pick up Exemplar. And that's going to come in handy right away, as we're going to be sending him out in this army. And what we're going to do is use our mercenary units to our advantage. We're going to get 4 of these, saving 2 for trebuchets down the line. And then we're going to get our mercenary axe unit. And everyone is full health right off the bat, facing off against Taishi Ci. If you capture him, just release. Remember, once you capture Poyang, he automatically joins you. Right here. And this army is good enough. Let's go. If you want to fight it, go for it. We're just going to delegate here just to save us some time. Make sure Sun Ce is your commanding general for your Legacy of Wu missions. Capture him, release. That means you have fondness when he joins you. I just take money. And then chase him for the 4th fight, and also eliminate his army from the field. That way you don't have to worry about him attacking you while you go attack Danyang, which should be your first target. Unless you personally really like Taishi Ci and want to go get him there. Got some items. You should be getting Zhou Tai and Jiang Qing here. There you go. Jiang Qing and Zhou Tai joins you. The requirement for this event is you fought 4 battles on 1 load. Means you started the game, you played, you have fought 4 battles with Sun Ce. You get them. If you fought 3, saved, closed your game, and opened it again, you need to fight 4 consecutive battles again to get them. Alright, so at this point, I think we're pretty good. They're not going to be super happy, but you can give them core positions. And like I mentioned, when you get enough shared expertise, use it on Zhou Tai. That way he can build a bond with Sun Ce. Put him in the same army, put him in the army that trails him, where he's just a general by himself if you want to do it that way. And you're pretty much home free at this point, right? With the way we set things up, you can't lose this piece of land unless you want to, because she has Unbreakable, she can loop forever. And down here, you have an army capable of wiping out whoever you want, right? If you want to go down and just tear apart Poyon right now, while you have your force here, and you can get the weapon craftsman, go for it, because that's our capital anyways. So when we want to move capitals, we have to pay for it. So you don't have to beeline for Danyang in this case. Or else what you might want to consider is move your army back. And what you would do is you would recruit 2 more of these units and immediately swap for Trebuchet. Now why would I pay twice? Because now the Trebuchet is full health. Because when you swap, it takes your current health and gives them just 1 turn less. So you automatically muster up to full. So next turn, this army's ready to go. Pop into the water, sail to Danyang, take this, they can't stop you. Set that as your capital, and then take the rest of Danyang and just start checking off your, missions. So you can pick up your Reckless Luck so you don't lose it. And very soon you should have all these done here. No one should really stop you here, right? You're facing off some very, very weak factions. Yanbai, who as a character might be the strongest one, but he doesn't start out at war with you, right? Whether you want to start sweeping down, Liu Yao first, now, super easy because you wiped out his only army. He has to rebuild that, where, your army's fresh. So if you don't want to go that way, just walk your army to the edge here and do the same maneuver with these. And then just take this, take this, take this, turn around, wipe out Yanbai Hu. Go back to Danyang, take all of this, wipe out Wang Lang here in Kuaizi. And that's the 4 commanderies you need for those 8 points. After that, go finish off Yuanshu if you want. You're pretty much free to do anything you want after you pick up these 8. I highly recommend you just finish these 8 first, get these 4 commanderies, get your 8 points down. Not only are you going to get 8 points during this process, but it's 3 pieces of land, 4 pieces of land, 3 pieces of land, 3 pieces of land. So 13 pieces of land. That's 13 times 5. Plus you have 20 turns of plus 5 times 2 because you broke off with him twice. Remember how you didn't give him the land? And then you didn't give him the seal? So you're good for 40 turns. So at this point, it's just super easy. You have a buffed up faction with 40% campaign movement range, cheaper retinue upkeep, military supplies, and you also have the boost to help you capture enemy generals, cheaper salary, all these bonuses here in court that gives you additional administrators, additional armies, additional assignments, and then you also can compound that with your regular boost of prestige point added into the system on the last patch, and then earlier access to faction council. Pretty much everything's working in your favor. So just go forth and conquer the world to your pleasure. It's a very fun campaign because of that. And you also can get Zhou Tai very, very early, set him up to work with you. He starts out with Undying Vow, just missing an Oaththorn, and Sun Ce is the easiest one to get the Oaththorn with him because of the share expertise. So that's pretty much it for the guide. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and go have some fun with the Sun Ce campaign. Also, the trick where you did the full health swap works wonders on Imperial units, because Imperial units have the really slow penalty to replenishment. This way, if they are ever injured, just delete them. Recruit a mercenary unit, swap them, and you're good to go, because Imperial units always are recruited at rank 10, so you won't be even losing any experience. Just costs you a little bit of money. So that's pretty much it. All the tricks I kind of know with Sun Ce's faction. Hopefully this will help you on your campaign, and see you guys next time. Bye!